So you watched my last video, you found actors, and now you're ready to hold auditions. What do you do next? Let's get into it. So first thing I did is I was like, okay, I found a couple actors that are interested in my film. They want to do their audition. The first thing I did is I did virtual auditions. So I went to Teams. I was going to do Zoom, but it kind of costed a little bit more money. So I went to Microsoft Teams. I downloaded that. I got a subscription. And then I sent everybody email who's interested. And I was like, hey, this is the link. This is the time slot. And they got their corresponding time slot. And I had them read the pages of the script. And based on that, I was like, okay, I'm going to decide based on this whether or not I will have you come in for an in-person audition. So for in-person auditions, what you want to do is find a meeting space. For me, closest, most kind of affordable space I could find was this area called the Workspace, which is located in Manchester, Connecticut. And basically it's like you can rent out office spaces. If you want to do an event there, you can rent space to do an event, things like that. So when I was shooting Cannibal, I went last year and I was like, hey, I need an area where I can hold auditions. Do you have anything like that? And they were like, yeah, we have this little studio kind of space. And they had their own cameras, audio equipment, stuff like that if you wanted to use it, but I had my own. So, and it was an extra charge actually. If you use their stuff, there's extra charge. But I already have my own camera, tripod, etc. So I was like, I don't really need any of that stuff. I really just need the room and maybe some chairs and a table. And they were like, cool. And so the auditions I did most recently, it was, I want to say it was $35 per hour for that particular room, which came up to $70 for the space. And so what I did is I emailed all the actors and I said, hey, our in-person auditions are going to be between 10 a.m. and 12. Please show up at 10. And we're going to have everybody do their in-person auditions when we do it. And you want to tell them what your expectations are going to be. So what I explained to all the actors is I was like, I know we did our virtual, but that is really just me seeing you from the neck up. And I was like, when we're doing in person, I really want to see that body language. I want to see your facial expressions as well as the different inflections in your voice when you're doing your audition. And I sent that in the email as well as the information on where the place was. Cool. So we get to the day of auditions, and I got there 15, 20 minutes early, set up the room, and my friend was with me, and he printed out the scripts for me, because I'd forgotten to do that. I was kind of busy. But I brought little water, some snacks, put it out in the area for them to wait while they wait if they wanted to, just as a little courtesy, you know. And they came into their audition, and I had each person go in order of who came first. And I basically explained how things are going to work. I said, this is how much you're going to get paid. This is how long we'll be shooting, the rehearsal, everything like that. And I had them do their first read. So when I'm actually doing the in-person audition, I have my script here, I have the actor there, and I just have them read through it with their own interpretation of what the character is going to be like. And then from there, I'll have them read through it again. And then after that second time, I feel like I can kind of figure out what are the tweaks that I want to make and what are the tweaks that I want to change. And then I'll give my directions and see if they can make those changes as the actor. And most of them went pretty well. There was one girl, because for this particular character, we needed her to be able to cry for a scene. There was one girl who I was like, are you able to cry on cue? She was like, absolutely, I can. I was like, awesome. I'm going to have you do that. But because that's a very deeply emotional thing, what I did is I had her do that last. So I had her read the script just all the way through, read her part again all the way through, and then the third time I was like, okay, now I'm going to have you go to that end scene where the character breaks down and cries, and I'm going to have you do that. And she was like, okay. So I had her do it, and she couldn't really cry. She was like, I'm so sorry, I don't know what's wrong with me. I swear, it only takes me 5 seconds, I don't know what's going on, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And I was like, okay, you know, I get it. People, it's a difficult thing to do, to just tell somebody cry and then do it. not everybody's built like that way, and everybody has their own kind of process. I remember when I was shooting the 4th episode of Cannibal, I had the actor Gabe, I was like, hey, you have to cry in this scene. And he was like, okay. I was like, can you do that? And he's like, yeah, I can cry. And so when we finally got to that point, I was like, hey, it's coming up. Like this right here, we're going to do it. He's like, okay. So he goes into the corner of the room and he puts in his headphones and he's just sitting there. Just, like super dark. All the lights are turned off. And he's there for maybe like 2-3 minutes. And then he stands up and he's like, okay, I'm ready. And you can just see his eyes are super red. And I was like, that's talent right there. So anyways, all that to say, everybody's got their own process, it is what it is. But yeah, so I have them read through it once, have them read through it twice, and then the 3rd time I'll give my notes and see if they can pick up on them and do it the way that I want them to. Yeah, so after auditions, I emailed everybody who got the part, and I was like, hey, I'm going to choose you for this role, and letting you know that when we go to our first rehearsal, I'm going to be explaining to you exactly what my expectations are as far as making sure that you keep in communication with me, as far as professionalism, as far as timeliness, because I've worked with a lot of different actors and they all have their different approaches to timeliness, amount of communication and professionalism and things like that. I've had actors that I was like, hey, we're going to rehearse today. Oh my God, I'm drunk. I can't come. Sorry. But at the end of the day, I as the director am paying you to do a job, therefore I expect you to be able to deliver on that. And so what I'm going to do is create another video showing how I go about my rehearsals and what that's going to look like. So, conclusion, find a meeting space. If you're trying to do your own auditions, I would recommend going to different, you can rent out this space, you can rent out an office, you can rent out this thing, and see what their prices are looking like. I really wouldn't recommend you doing it in your house, especially because they're strangers and you don't know them. But if you're super duper balling on a budget and you have no other option, I guess you could. Make sure you're very clear with them. Make sure you're very professional. Make sure you start on time. Make sure you keep note of who's late and who's not late. And make sure that you explain to them, if you do choose to work with that person moving forward, I do expect you to be on time. I'm paying you to do a job. So yeah, those are some recommendations. I would say shout out to Workspace in Manchester. Everybody is super nice. The staff is super friendly. So if you're in Connecticut and you're a budget filmmaker like myself and you need to find a space to do auditions, I would highly recommend that. Really nice people there. Very professional. They just opened the room for me, helped me set it up, and we were good to go. So yeah, that's how I hold auditions. I hope you learned something today. I hope that it helped. More videos will be following about how I do my rehearsals, what it looks like me filming on set, things like that. So just stay tuned for more.